Was Joey about to defeat Kaiba? Let's watch.
Seto Kaiba and Joey Wheeler are two of the most opposite characters you can get. And for the most part, this shows, as these two characters really don't get along with each other. However, the main reason for this is because at each of their cores, their philosophies that they embody are the opposite to one another. Kaiba embodies the winning is everything mentality. To succeed and attain what you want, you must win. Whereas for Joey, it's more of a, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And if you fail then, try again. So of course...
But it's the same, right? That's what Kaiba also did, right? He never gave up when he lost to to Yugi. He was always trying to get better because of that, right? And he's like, I'm gonna defeat you, I'm gonna defeat you, I'm getting better, I'm gonna have the right strategy or whatever to defeat you. Well, at least in the movies, right? It sounds like he was always planning. We don't see that much in the anime. But I think it's pretty much the same in that sense.
Naturally, Joey being called a third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck for the millionth time, he decides, not today.
Hold on, Kaiba. Why don't you duel me? We'll see who gets the third place crown.
Kaiba eventually accepts, and it is here that we get an absolute slugfest of a duel. Ultimately...
Sorry, I want to say something really important, that when we were watching another video about Joey, people in the chat were saying that this duel didn't matter. This duel had no stakes, and that's why it isn't important. And from my point, I said it then, but I'm gonna say it again. From my point of view, just because the stakes, quote unquote, are not up there for the general plot or the lore or whatever, or the fate of the world, doesn't mean that this is not an important duel. Because these are two of the main characters, and say oh yeah, Kaiba didn't care. And I'm like, yeah, Kaiba didn't quote unquote care because he was so confident he was gonna win. But if Kaiba lost this, you know he would have cared. It will change his whole worldview. So in that sense, for the characters, from a character perspective, it has a lot of huge stakes. And that's why it's so hype for me to see Joy give everything in this duel. What do you mean? It didn't really matter, and I mean it is filler duel in the manga canon arc, to be fair. It matters to the characters, and that's why it matters to me. I mean, the stakes were low. I was still more about Joy trying to show Kaiba to have fun. Fun! I think we watch different animes. Every duel is important, not because of the stakes, but because of the clash of personalities and the growth that result from them. Exactly, 100% with you there, Cyberhorse. 100%. I honestly think this is awesome. I don't know what else to tell you.
Kaiba walks away from this duel with the win. However, Joey does reveal that he knew this would happen in the end. And what Joey wants Kaiba to take away from the duel is that losing, it's not the end of the world. And a loss for him means he'll be back next time.
You may have beaten me in this duel, and you may even beat me in the next duel too, but I'm gonna keep coming back until I win, Kaiba. That's cause Joey Wheeler doesn't give up.
I think
that's awesome! That's awesome, dude! What are we supposed to...
healthy mentality to take away. However, the fact of the matter is, Joey did lose. And I want to know if he could have won in this duel at any point, or if anyone made any misplays. So how about we analyze this duel together and see if there are any mistakes as we jump into the duel.
That's right, that's my goat right there.
The duel begins and Kaiba goes first. His opening hand consists of Ryukishin Powered, Crush Card, Shrink, Blade Knight, Enemy Controller, and Blue Eyes White Dragon. He starts by summoning Ryukishin Powered in attack, and then sets both his Shrink and Crush card face down. Kaiba ends his turn. It's Joey's turn and he draws. His opening hand consists of Gearfried the Iron Knight, Swordsman of Landstar, Little Wingard, Legendary Sword, Nutrient Z, and Grave Robber.
Little Wingard is not a real card? Or is that the anime version of it? I don't know, and that's why it looks like that.
He begins by summoning Gearfried the Iron Knight. Joey declares that thanks to Gearfried's effect, which is technically that equip cards can't be equipped to it, how Joey describes it, it seems as if spell cards just don't affect it at all. And so, most likely whatever Kaiba has face down, Joey's attack will be able to be successful. Confident with this, Joey declares his attack. When he does, Kaiba activates his face down Shrink. And while Joey was right in calling Kaiba's play, since Shrink would have halved his monster's attack and got him destroyed, unfortunately, Gearfried is not the target. Kaiba chooses his own monster.
Oh yeah, to tribute it, right? Or no? Was it? No, wait, what?
What's the deal with this? Well, unfortunately, he's fell right into Kaiba's trap. As now, the criteria for Kaiba's other face down, Crush Card Virus, have been met. Since a dark monster with less than 1000 attack was destroyed by battle, every monster on Joey's side of the field, in his hand, and in his deck that has 1500 or more attack, is sent to the graveyard.
Oh, it's when it's, I told you, okay, I am remembering because I'm gonna be honest with you, chat, I'm still not 100% sure how that card works. I know it's been banned, and at some point it was the most expensive card in the world. So yeah, it works differently. Yeah, that's why it's confusing.
Also, for as long as this card remains in the graveyard, all those monsters that were sent cannot be special summoned. Joey is in a terrible position. The majority of his powerful monsters that he had gained throughout Battle City are now locked out of the duel. If there is one tiny little silver lining in this, it's the fact that this duel now mirrors the duel Kaiba and Yugi had way back in Duelist Kingdom, where Kaiba used Crush Card Virus on Yugi, and Yugi ultimately was going to win that duel and surrender in the end. Let's see if Joey can win with Crush Card. Anyway, Joey reluctantly ends his turn. And it is here that the first misplay happens. Not a big one, but one nonetheless. He has two cards in his hand that he could absolutely set face down here. Nutrient Z and Grave Robber. If he sets his Grave Robber now, at any point during the duel, he can steal a card from Kaiba's grave. And already, he could steal a Crush Card Virus if he wanted to, or he could even steal a Shrink. Both very useful. Could he use Crush Card Virus? No, because Joey doesn't actually have any dark monsters with less than 1000 attack in his deck. It's not really an option. But Shrink, that could be helpful. The same for Nutrients.
I mean, it could be helpful. That doesn't mean it's a misplay, right? At this time, in this meta or whatever, if you said something, it could get destroyed. So sometimes it's better to keep things for last because it's a slower pace.
Nutrient Z, if he's about to take 2000 damage, he gains 4000 life points before that damage is dealt. You should have that on the field all the time. You never know when you get OTK.
I guess so.
Set that straight away. So misplay Joey. It's Kaiba's turn and he draws Lejin, the mystical genie of the lamp. He summons it to the field and then enters his battle phase. He uses it to attack Joey directly. Kaiba ends his turn. It's Joey's turn and he draws Graceful Dice. We see his hand and, oh boy, does the dub team like to make me laugh sometimes. Two of Joey's cards have morphed into Crush Card Virus.
Oh yeah.
Collected Power. As you all probably know, that's wrong. This is what his hand is supposed to look like. Dub error.
Well, I understand the confusion, yeah, it kinda looks like that.
Nonetheless. Anyway, Joey summons Swordsman of Landstar to the field. Now, since he controls a monster with 500 or less attack, he can activate his spell, Graceful Dice. By rolling a die, he can multiply the attack of Swordsman of Landstar by the result. He gets a 4, and Swordsman's attack is quadrupled. Joey attacks and destroys Kaiba's Lejin. Joey ends his turn, and as he does, the effect of Graceful Dice ends. It's back to Kaiba and he draws Absorb Spell. He summons Blade Knight and immediately uses it to attack and destroy Swordsman of Landstar. Kaiba then moves to his main phase 2 and sets Absorb Spell face down. Kaiba ends his turn. Let's pause the duel right here because, believe it or not, there is a play that Joey could have done that could have won him the duel.
There is no way. No way, dude.
However, there is a very big but attached to that statement that we will cover a little bit later. But first, how could Joey have won next turn? Let's go back to the start of Joey's last turn. He draws Graceful Dice and summons Swordsman of Landstar. This time, however, what he should do is set Graceful Dice, Nutrient Z, and Grave Robber all face down. And simply end his turn there. Now, when Kaiba's turn starts, yes, he might see through this obvious trap. Knowing Kaiba, he will still probably try to attack through.
Okay, that's a big
and
if,
he decides
honestly.
to do that, then he has 3 different plays to choose from. Play number 1, summon his Blade Knight alongside Lejin. Attack Swordsman with Lejin. Joey chains Graceful Dice. Lejin is destroyed, and Kaiba is forced to end his turn here. Play number 2, Kaiba uses enemy controller on Swordsman of Landstar. He chooses to destroy it, and now with no monsters on Joey's side of the field, he attacks with both of his and wins the duel. However, would Kaiba waste his enemy controller on a 500 attack point monster? I doubt it. So this is where we go to the third play, and the most likely. Kaiba uses enemy controller on Swordsman of Landstar. He sacrifices his Lejin and the Swordsman to summon Blue Eyes White Dragon from his hand. By doing this, Graceful Dice is now rendered useless. Kaiba can attack directly for seemingly gain. However, this is where Joey plays his trap, Nutrient Z, to increase his life points to 6,200, and then when Blue Eyes' attack goes through, he will be left with 3,200. Technically, more than what he started with. Kaiba would then be forced to set his Absorb spell face down and end his turn. And this is where Joey could make the final play. Joey draws, but it doesn't really matter what it is, as all he has to do is activate his face down card robber, steal enemy controller, activate it, take control of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then attack directly with it, since Kaiba only has 2,800 life points. So Joey wins the duel.
That easy? There is no way.
Right? Well, I thought so too, until I really read what enemy controller does in the anime. Like most people, your go-to is to think of the enemy controller that we have in the real world.
Okay.
That just takes control of your monster, and you can sacrifice that if you want to. However, let's remind everyone exactly what this card can do in the anime. Give a command to one of your opponent's monsters on the field with the enemy controller.
What the hell is this?
Explode or sacrifice. Nowhere in its effect does it state it takes control of an opponent's monster. So why do we think this? Well, that's because in the 2 duels that it was used in, that's exactly what we see it do, as the monsters always move from the opponent's side of the field over to Kaiba's. However, enemy controller does not take control.
It's just used for trivia, right?
Monsters. That visual of the monsters moving over to the other side of the field, it's purely aesthetic. All that's happening when you use the sacrifice effect is it simply makes the monster targeted.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. I'm learning. I'm learning this just now.
To your side of the field, that's just for the audience. Proof for this is the fact that when Kaiba uses Soul Exchange in his duel with Yugi, the monsters targeted actually move over to his side of the field as well as he attempts to sacrifice them. However, if you read the card's effect, it simply says both players contribute monsters controlled by their opponents. So after explaining all that and taking you all through this hypothetical scenario where I said that Joey can win, I am an absolute liar. I'm sorry, I went through this whole thing, I'm like, Joey's got this in the bag.
You liar! I believe you!
So, I'm sorry I wasted your time, but we learned something. Some people might have learnt something. I did do a poll on this. People were just as confused as I was at first, so I think it's fine.
Unsure, anime effect too vague? I mean, it's written in the card.
Anyway, let's get back to the actual duel, shall we? It's Joey's turn and he draws Scapegoat. He summons his little Wingard into attack and then attempts to equip it with the legendary sword to boost its attack to 1700.
Okay.
However, Kaiba plays his face down Absorb spell, which switches the target of legendary sword to Blade Knight. It has its attack increased to 1900 instead.
Looks
With
so
no
silly.
moves left, Joey reluctantly sets his Scapegoat face down and ends his turn. It's back to Kaiba and he draws Cost Down. He activates his enemy controller and uses its second effect by paying 1,000 life points and entering the code
Left, right, A, B.
He is now able to sacrifice one of Joey's monsters.
The Kaiba music
then
there for a
activates
second.
his spell Cost Down to reduce the levels of all the cards in his hand by 2. Now with a level 6 Blue Eyes White Dragon in hand, he is able to summon it straight to the field by sacrificing only Little Wingard. And not only that, but since Kaiba's hand is now empty, the effect of Blade Knight kicks in, increasing its own attack by a further
That's huge!
100. Kaiba enters his battle phase and orders Blue Eyes White Dragon to attack Joey directly. However, Joey activates his face down Scapegoat to special summon 4 sheep tokens. Blue Eyes
so
and
funny.
Blade Knight destroy 1 each, and Kaiba ends his turn. It's Joey's turn and he draws Battle Warrior. He finally sets his Grave Robber face down, and then, with very little else to do, he summons his Battle Warrior into defense.
Sorry, I'm... Battle Warrior sounds like a... like such a silly name.
Joey ends his turn. It's back to Kaiba and he draws the most broken card of all time, Card of Demise. He activates it and thanks to its effect, it allows him to draw until he has 5 cards in his hand.
That's
However,
insane.
he has to discard his entire hand after 5 turns. Like that will ever happen.
After 5 turns? What? Like if you get so many cards, like you already win. What a dumb card.
Kaiba draws Kaiser's Seahorse, Blue Eyes White Dragon, Interdimensional Matter Transporter, Quick Attack, and Polymerization. He summons Kaiser's Seahorse and uses it, Blue Eyes, and Blade Knight to wipe out Joey's entire field. Kaiba ends his turn. Could Kaiba have set Interdimensional Matter Transporter face down and helped him out in the next turn that's coming up? Of course he could have. Did he? No, so misplay Kaiba. It's back to Joey and he draws
SMH.
Greed. He activates it and draws 2 new cards. He gets Monster Reborn and Hayabusa Knight. Joey activates his set, Grave Robber, which is able to steal 1 card from Kaiba's grave.
Technically, Card of Sanctity is the most broken spell in the anime. Card of Demise is either third or second or third. I mind there is a lot of like super weird cards in the anime that will never be printed. At least not with the exact effect. There are a few times where a Card of Demise negative effect resolves. Wow. The real version obviously ain't like that. Card of Sanctity got it even worse. Obviously, right? They would never print a card like that. It makes no sense.
He declares enemy controller. Joey uses it straight away. He pays 1000 life points and chooses to use the first effect to destroy 1 monster on the field. He enters the code
Up, left, down, right, A!
This then destroys Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon. Bet you wish you set that Interdimensional Matter Transporter face down now, Kaiba. Anyway, now with Blue Eyes in the grave, Joey, to Kaiba's horror, plays Monster Reborn.
This is the coolest thing ever.
Brings back Blue Eyes White Dragon to his side of the field. He uses it
How could you see that and say that this doesn't matter?
to attack and destroy Kaiba's Blade Knight. Joey summons his Hayabusa Knight into defense, sets Nutrient Z face down, and ends his turn. It's Kaiba's turn and he is fuming. He draws Monster Reborn. He tributes his Kaiser Seahorse to summon his second Blue Eyes White Dragon. This was possible as Kaiser Seahorse is treated as 2 tributes for the summon of a light monster.
Convenient.
Kaiba reveals that he would rather see his Blue Eyes go back into the grave than be in the hands of someone so mediocre. And so he crashes his Blue Eyes into Joey's. Both are destroyed. However, before it looks like Kaiba has simply gone mad, he reveals he has Monster Reborn, resurrecting his Blue Eyes White Dragon back during the second main phase.
That's so
Kaiba
hype, dude. I love
turn.
that.
And as he does, he goes absolutely ham on Joey.
You are worthless, and you shouldn't have been in my tournament in the first place. Now then, go ahead and make your move, cause you've wasted enough of my time already.
It's Joey's turn and he draws Baby Dragon. With very little options, all Joey can do is summon it into defense and end his turn. It's Kaiba's turn and he draws Stop Defense. He immediately activates it to switch Joey's Hayabusa Knight into attack. He then attacks with Blue Eyes White Dragon, attempting to go for game. But Joey activates his face down Nutrient Z, which, when he's about to take 2000 or more damage, allows him to increase his life points by 4000 before the damage is dealt. Joey's life points increase, then Blue Eyes deals 2000 damage. Kaiba sets his Interdimensional Matter Transporter face down and ends his turn. It's
I love Eric Stuart's Kaiba. Yeah, he's amazing. He's so iconic.
Joey's turn and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and he gets his ever faithful Time Wizard. Fun fact about Anime Time Wizard, it can be used as a spell card, so you can just activate it like a spell to use its time roulette.
It's a pendulum?
And that's what happens here. Joey activates it and due to its effect, the time roulette begins. It is successful and all monsters on the field begin to age 1000 years. Joey's Baby Dragon ages and transforms into the fusion monster, Thousand Dragon. However, before Kaiba's Blue Eyes can be affected by the time roulette, Kaiba reveals his face down Interdimensional Matter Transporter, which allows him to banish Blue Eyes until the end phase. Now, everyone at home is probably screaming at Joey, just attack, you can win the duel, just attack directly, you've won. However, unfortunately, you need to know something about the Battle City rules.
No way.
Unfortunately, fusion summoned monsters can't attack the turn they are summoned.
What is this rule that I've never heard in my life?
Why Kaiba would implement a rule like this when he himself plays a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, I don't know, for reasons, but unfortunately due to this, Joey can't attack and win this.
Someone in
so
sickness.
Unfortunately, the end phase occurs and Blue Eyes White Dragon returns to the field. We do get a great moment from Joey here, where he reveals that he was pretty sure that Kaiba was going to win this duel anyway. However, it's Kaiba's turn and the final turn of the duel. He draws and gets Thunder Dragon. He activates its effect, allowing him to discard it to add 2 more copies of itself from the deck.
Oh,
He
Yugi's
does
duel
this
against
and
Seeker.
then activates his polymerization to fuse the 2 monsters together to make twin-headed Thunder Dragon. However, hang on, he's done the same thing as Joey. He can't attack with his fusion summoned monster the turn it's fusion summoned. Joey can survive another turn. You would be right. However, there is one card that allows fusion summoned monsters to attack the turn they were fusion summoned, and Kaiba has it. Quick attack. He activates.
Huge. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this was in the other duel that we saw, Yugi versus Seeker. Yeah. So this card only makes sense in this tournament where that rule exists. That is so interesting. Pretty much a case of, except this one, they made pointless anyway by giving them a quick attack spell. I guess.
Attack, allowing twin-headed Thunder Dragon to attack and destroy Thousand Dragon. Kaiba then uses his Blue Eyes White Dragon to attack Joey directly, reducing his life points down to 0 and winning him the duel. So the question now becomes, out of all of that, could Joey have won at any point?
No, it's not over, Kaiba. It's never over.
The short answer, no, not really. Kaiba dominated a lot in this duel.
Yeah.
Joey was fighting an uphill battle. The majority of his deck was not available to him. And while there's no denying that Joey is a great duelist, as for all intents and purposes, he was about to beat Marek, the main villain of this series. So obviously, he's a good duelist. However, I do think that Kaiba probably would have been able to defeat Marek as well, but that's just my personal opinion. I think Kaiba, Yugi, and Joey could all have beat Marek. It was just literally who got to him first. Obviously, Joey passed out, but if had he not, he would have won. That's just my personal opinion anyway. You know. Joey even...
That's so interesting to think about. That's really awesome. I didn't like the fusion monsters can attack they are summoned in battle season. Yeah, I mean, sounds like I don't know why they made it like that. Must have been played after fusion like 10 different times in this arc. Really?
Recognizes Kaiba's dueling strength at the end of this duel, but just not his attitude towards dueling. So was there any specific moments where Joey could have took the duel? Well, there was that hypothetical enemy controller, and unless enemy controller has a third secret ability that we don't know about, if you enter, for example, the Konami code, can you just take control of the
Konami code.
World enemy controller? Unfortunately, due to that play, no. The only other thing that Joey could have done to hypothetically get a better edge in this duel would to have been to set Grave Robber earlier and maybe take the Shrink to take an earlier lead. I said he could have took the Crush Card Virus, but he doesn't have any Dark Monsters with less than 1000 attack. But how cool
that we
would
know
have
of.
been? Imagine Kaiba getting Crush Card Virus. He doesn't play any low-level monsters. He would have, like, no deck left. That would have been hilarious. So to summarize Joey's dueling, he played the best possible duel he could. There was a couple little things he probably could have done better, but overall, he did lose this duel fair and square.
No, I know the Konami code is a real thing. No, I'm aware.
But what about for Kaiba? Did he play the best possible duel that he could? Yeah, he did. I don't think he could have done much more. I think Kaiba won as well, fair and square. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there anything you want to add? What did you think about my enemy controller explanation? Let me know. But guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. But other than that, I'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.
That was such a cool video. Honestly, one of my favorite duels. I don't remember much about it because obviously I watched this a long time ago. But it is as hype as I remember. That is true. Yeah. Except Giant Germ. I mean, it would have been cool, right? If we saw like maybe Kaiba plays ore cards, maybe. Who knows? It would have been interesting to see something like that, like just playing with quote-unquote weak monsters. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know, I really like it. Thank you everyone. Yeah, I'll see you. Actually, no, this is awesome. I want to see more stuff like that, just to remember, just for nostalgia. The nostalgia factor is strong in me with this.